Preview. Preview.
Ok, và mình tiếp tục ha. Ok, ready? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let's count our next sentence. Let's see. What I find is quite interesting. Okay. Những gì mà tôi tìm thấy, những gì mà tôi nhận ra, những gì mà tôi tìm thấy thì nó khá là thú vị. Ok, mình cùng học từng cụm một nhé. What I find quite interesting. Ok, mình cùng học này. What I find, kiểu như là các bạn đang cầm một cái nút. Ok, what I find. Ok, nào cho mình nhé. What I find. Ok, what I find. Ok, lại nhé. What I find. Đứng dậy một to lên nào. Ok, what I find. Ok, what I find. Các bạn nhớ mắt lại như thế này, đang soi kính núp. Ok, cái thứ mà tôi tìm thấy. Ok, what I find. Ok, what I find. Ok, what I find. What I find. What I find. Ok, what I find. Ok, what I find. Ok, nhanh hơn một chút nha. What I find. Ok, what I find. Ok, what I find. Quite là gì? Khá. Ok, it's quite, kiểu như là khá là khá này. Quite is quite. Ok, it's quite interesting. Interesting là thú vị. Ok, it's quite interesting. Ok, now what I find is quite interesting. Ok, what I find is quite interesting. Ok, to lên nha. Ok, 1, 2, 3, go. What I find is quite interesting. Ok, to nữa nào. What I find is quite interesting. Ok, to nữa nào. What I find is quite interesting. Ok, what I find is quite interesting. Ok, những gì mà tôi tìm kiếm, những gì mà tôi tìm thấy ở cái nghĩa trang đó, ở cái Day of the Dead đó, thì nó rất là khá là thú vị. Ok, khá là thú vị. Ok, 1, 2, 3, go. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. Okay, what I find quite interesting. Quite. Okay, ôn lại từng cụm từ một nhé. What I find is quite interesting. It's quite. What I find interesting. Okay, what I find is quite interesting. Okay, what I find is quite interesting. Okay, ready? Yes. Okay, so what I find is quite interesting. Okay, what I find is quite interesting. Okay, so now we come to the mini story of this sentence. Okay, in this mini story, I'll ask you a lot of questions. You need to shout the answer out loud, right? When the answer is yes, and you say yes, and the answer is no, and you say no. Okay, this is very important. Very important. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, so what I find is quite interesting. Yes. So what is quite interesting? What? Cái gì khá thú vị? Yeah, the Day of the Dead. Great. The Day of the Dead in the cemetery is quite interesting. So who felt the Day of the Dead is in the cemetery is quite interesting? Ai là người cảm thấy rằng là the Day of the Dead, cái lễ hội the Day of the Dead ở trong nghĩa trang ấy, thì nó rất khá là thú vị. Ai cảm thấy vậy? Yes, Tony. Right. Tony felt that the cemetery is quite interesting. He said that, what I find it quite interesting. So as what Tony find is quite boring. Có phải những cái điều gì mà diễn ra ở trong cái cemetery, ở trong cái nghĩa trang đó thì rất là boring, rất là buồn chán không? No, it's not boring, right? The cemetery is not boring in the Day of the Dead, right? The Day of the Dead is not boring. The Day of the Dead is quite interesting. Interesting. So, how does Tony think or how does he feel about the Day of the Dead? How does he feel about the Day of the Dead? Or how does he think about the Day of the Dead? Tôi đi cảm thấy như thế nào? Tôi đi cảm nhận như thế nào? Tôi đi suy nghĩ như thế nào về cái lễ hội the Day of the Dead đó? Yeah. What if I is quite interesting, right? What if I is quite interesting? So, what is quite interesting? What? Yeah, the Day of the Dead. Okay, the Day of the Dead in the cemetery. Okay, so is what Tony find about the Day of the Dead in the cemetery is quite somber. No, somber. It mean not fun. It's the opposite of interesting. It's the opposite of fun. It mean ủ rũ hoặc kiểu như là boring, tức là ủ rũ, buồn nhạt, buồn tẻ nhạt ấy. Kiểu là ủ rũ, somber. Okay, so the cemetery is somber on the Day of the Dead. No, it's not somber. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. So, who felt that the cemetery quite interesting? Who? Yes, Tony. Tony, he's felt that the cemetery on the Day of the Dead is quite interesting. The cemetery is quite interesting. Okay, so when is the Day of the Dead? When? The Day of the Dead tổ chức vào ngày nào nhỉ? When? It's on November 5th. On November 1st. On November 1st. So, where is the Day of the Dead? Where? Yeah, it's in Guatemala. On the Day of the Dead. In Guatemala. On the Day of the Dead. And Tony, he's curious about this holiday. So that's why he go to the cemetery to see what's happening. And what he find is quite interesting. Tony rất là tò mò về cái lễ hội này, về cái ngày này. Đó là lý do mà anh ta đến cái nghĩa trang ở Guatemala để mà xem là có cái điều gì xảy ra ở cái ngày Day of the Dead đó. Và tất cả những gì anh ta tìm thấy nó rất là khá là thú vị. Okay, what is far is quite interesting. Okay, so this is the end of the mini story for this sentence. Okay, I want you to listen to this mini story again and again and again and again. Okay, thầy muốn các bạn là hãy nghe đi nghe lại những cái video này, nghe đi nghe lại as much as you can, nhiều lần nhất có thể. Okay, this is very important, rất là quan trọng, very important. Thank you very much and goodbye.